Oh.
Oh, I couldn't make myself. I had to cut it. It was too long. Dan's asleep.
I wanted to see how it ended.
Oh, you know what? I've watched it like 3 or 4 times and I still never even got to the end of it myself. So maybe next week I might cut it down and just do like a 20, 30 second or something. I'll tighten it up a bit.
Just do that.
And
but it is kind of cool.
Plate as well. It had like a little epileptic fit in between each number.
That was just your slow computer.
All right.
But I did steal that from a dude called Sazabolix Raba. So don't take me down off Twitch, man. Just there's a shout out for you. So
Yeah, you got a free shout out.
No, next week I want Dan to make like 10 numbers out of Lego. So Dan is our countdown. Dan can be our new countdown ring girl. All right.
Maybe we take it in turns each week with next week is Bilsy. He's got to come up with one. Yeah. Dan can go and then I'll go.
Right. Because you've thrown it out there, you can be the
number one.
The first one.
I'm on it.
All right, done. Even countdown from 10 to 0. Probably take you a minute or two, but at least you got a 10 to 1, a 10 to 0 countdown.
Yeah, I'll cut that. I'll get that ready.
Done. How's your week been?
Me? We're starting with me. Yeah, good. Good. Chucked another blog out today. So Ranger Bricks Below Me helped. We got a Swedish Lego Masters episode 1 blog out, so everyone can see what they're up to. Similar challenge, different builds, but a bit of fun.
Before I get to Dan, we have love for the countdown. Thanks, Tiff. At least someone out there loved it. Dan, how's your week been, bud?
It's been good, mate. Thank you. Just spent the weekend up at the beach, so it was a long weekend here. So spent 3 days up.
I noticed you tan. You're looking good.
Yeah. I can just fake that with my light. It's all good. But just got home this afternoon, so I haven't really done much. Did build a lot of Lego up at the beach though, so it was cool.
Nice.
Shipping the bottle.
You got a haircut by the look of it.
I did. Was getting a bit scraggly, so I thought I'd better do something about it. But, I haven't been up to much, just renovating, working. Managed to catch up with Andrew and Damien from season 2 up at Dreamworld the other day.
Oh, nice.
So that was good.
Yeah, I saw their butterfly looked pretty cool. The butterfly in the photo frame.
Yeah,
they did that in about 3 hours. So it was. Mind you, they had a whole bunch of minions helping them, so it was. But it was quite good to catch up with them guys.
So what I built in 3 hours when I had my little minion.
Half a DeLorean.
So this week we are talking about Lego digital designing, Lego designing the computers inside of programs. And we have pretty much to give us a rundown. We've got 2 Sams. So we've got Ranger Brick Sam and Fireman Sam. Thanks, guys, for coming in. So I guess
Fireman Sam, I just got that. That was good.
I am a fireman, so it does work.
Yeah.
I'll start with Ranger Bricks because you're kind of in the first in line on my chat window. If someone was to ask you what is digital design in Lego, how do you explain it to them?
I guess in a way it's a little bit like Lego CAD, or imagine having an infinite brick pit of every color, even ones that don't exist. And you can just build whatever you want, as big as you want, as long as you want. So essentially it's getting programs like Lego Digital Designer and Bricklink Studio and just start building what you want.
There you go. That's pretty simplified version to
Yeah.
Do what you want without it costing you a
do
cent.
what you want, yeah. The ultimate
Fireman Sam, rebuttal.
No, I agree 100%. It's just the freedom to do whatever, whenever, however you want, with no monetary restrictions on buying bricks.
Yeah, right.
And that's the best. That's obviously the best part about it. So, I'll go to you now, Fireman Sam. What started? Because I know I've seen a fair few designs of you, especially a lot of trucks, I guess, that you've designed and cars and vehicles and stuff. What got you kicked off in it? Like, what was your first? Did you build something digitally to be like, oh, I want to see how it works before I buy the bricks, or you just kind of went straight out and found like a hobby in that, or what was your aim at it?
A bit of both. A bit of the wanting to build something, but not have the issue of building it 1,000 times physically to try and get the design right, the look right, find bricks that work. Whereas digitally, you can rebuild it as much as you want. You've got access to every single brick. So instead of getting to a build phase in a project where you're designing and you're like, oh, I'm short this brick, I'm short that brick, I need these bricks to accomplish this. In the digital studio, you can just constantly evolve your model instantly while you're sort of in that zone of building and designing. And yeah, sort of took off from having doing mostly physical builds to getting to that frustration of rebuilding the same thing 1,000 times. And then later on, you find out you've got bricks that you didn't know about, and then you could have rebuilt it better, sort of thing. So having the digital aspect to rebuild over and over and over again is probably the best aspect of it.
So how long did it take you to learn the program? Because like anytime I'll go on an app, if I don't get it straight away, I delete it. Is it an easy program to get a hang of?
Learn it well. Probably took me about 3 or 4 months of constantly using it to learn all the features of it. But the basic aspect, in 1 or 2 hours, you can be very competent in using them.
Yeah, right.
So in our chat, Parko, our regular, stud.io, no contest. Yeah. So
yeah,
I see you're nodding there, Ranger. You mentioned before as well, a question I want to bring out. You said that the Brinklick have their studio version of obviously a designer. Can you do it backwards where, you said you can use parts where even if they don't exist in whatever color and whatever angle, can you feed it your parts list and only build that way, like back? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's a little bit trickier. I'm actually writing an article for the blog to explain it. But one thing you can do is you can import sets that you already have. So if Lego has made something, you can go file, import, 2081, go. And you'll load up all the bricks in a specialized little custom palette. And then you can just have the instructions on your monitor and then start building from there. But you can also then build your own little sets, like your own collection. So you have 50 red bricks and 80 green bricks and whatever slopes. You can say, right, here's this batch. I'll put them in my own little special box. Yeah.
There you go. So, Dan, I'm looking at you now. Have you ever used anything designing digitally wise?
I've only really used Studio once to recreate a trophy that I built, and I can't do it. Okay. I can't think in that 3D space, and I prefer to build with bricks. And I think, to be fair, I think building with bricks has its detriments in the fact that you're kind of stuck with what you have, whereas Studio, you can do whatever you want. And I'm kind of in awe when I watch people build in Studio. And I got a friend that I stream with, has Guardian Studio, and he builds planes. And Jesus, it just blows my mind watching people that know how to use the programs well, using the program well. And it's just not me. So, I'm too old.
For you guys who use the program, when you build with physical Lego, do you then find that more frustrating now because you haven't got all these bricks and things that you can do with digital?
It's interesting because there's two different things going on. I like digital because I can build as fast as I think, but I lose the spatialness, the physicality of it. There's something that you get with physical bricks that you go, oh, wait, I can flip it like this, I can do that. And you just can't really replicate that digitally, even though you can flip things around. It's a flat image. It's not like I'm doing it in VR. So, yeah, it's It's a hit and miss. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. Yeah.
That raises another question. Like I've never used either. Like I've got them. I think I used it to put like a couple, like 10 bricks together just to see what it was like, and it wasn't my like Dan. It's not my thing. Is there on either of them? Is there like a physical, like a physics calculator, so to speak? Like, will it not let you build if it's going to be too heavy or too much of a hang or a?
No, it won't care. It won't care at all. It does have a connectivity calculator that might suggest how stable it is. But if you could build with a floating brick, you can, I could rip a model apart, rebuild the inside, then snap it back together. You can do the impossible. So that does catch you out a bit when you start building physically and you have to go, right, I can't just change 5 colors. I have to start going, right, if I have to take this apart, I have to design it quickly so I know that if it gets pulled apart, it's not a rebuild.
What about technically wise, and this might be one more for you, Fine and Sam, with trucks and things, but what about like grinding gears or wheels or turning parts? How would is it smart enough to know that? Or because that's one thing that you do with trial and error in the physical sense.
I have found that, the digital designers are hard to get the whole gearing mechanisms of Technic working really well unless you're extremely switched on with it, which I'm not the greatest when it comes to the technical side of the IO Studio. But mainly I use it to build the carcass designs, the main functions of it, and then something simple like nutting out a few gear ratios in a gearbox or a drivetrain or something like that is quite simple to do physically building, and you can do it a lot quicker than you can doing it on Stud or any of the digital programs, just depending on your skill level and knowledge of that aspect of it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't. I've used both LDD and Stud.io, and I understand the appeal of them, but I'm not a massive fan. I'm old school where I prefer physical bricks. But I must admit that I do like LDD, especially when traveling. I find that you still get to get your Lego fix without taking a suitcase full of bricks with you, or doing the occasional late shift at work or something. It comes in handy to keep you entertained while the boss is paying you.
It's good to get your brick out when you're not at home.
That's it.
So I got the guys to send me some designs and photos, and this one's from Ranger, and obviously it goes back to the whole, unlimited brick count, crazy type levels. And like this,
self-portrait. This,
what? When I first looked, what it almost looks like? Is it Hank from The Simpsons?
It does.
Hank Scorpio, a couple of people mentioned that. But this wasn't designed in studio. This was designed in another program called Blender, and Blender has basically the brick generator. So I had to build a 3D model of myself, load it into Blender, run it on a plugin I've bought called Bricker, and it will then convert an object into hundreds of bricks. So it's very similar to what Lego uses, and they have a program called Brick Builder, and that's what Brickman and all the major Lego Discovery Centers will use to build their big full-scale models.
So would that be similar to like if I wanted to do a mosaic by putting it in Photoshop and converting it to like 32 by 32, it automatically does it from a model?
Yeah, it does it from a model. I can do mosaics in them. Studio just released a mosaic builder, so that's made life so much easier. And there's the good old Batman, which I ripped the model out of the Arkham Knight game to use. So that's where it came from.
And you've got some extra things in here. So obviously the Lego's impressive, but you've put lighting contrast in there as well to give it some extra depth and feel and all the rest of it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something I've just gotten into over this year. Before I just building models flat, and then because I got it into Blender, that's what I've been working on at the moment. I'm now able to do atmospherics and lighting and take to like a whole new level. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
You know what? I don't know. I can't remember who it was. It might have even been Paco's one, or it was someone on one of the Ozlugs pages. I remember they were putting digital photos up, and until I was told it was digital, the lighting and the angle is like legitimately looked like a real set. I can't remember whose it was now though, but I'm trying to find. So even here, I got a trailer off Fireman Sam.
There's no cat hair on it. That's how you can tell that it's not real.
Yeah, I could do the cat hair filter for you.
Yeah.
No, but so for instance, right, you look at this one, and other than being a nice white background, there's no way technically at that kind of angle or even that distance you can tell that that's digital.
Yeah, right.
So I wonder if now that brings a whole other question. Look how many people around the world are doing digital virtual Lego shows. How many of them are legit?
It's interesting. The digital world is not as big as I thought. There's a few people out there, but it's not something I thought I'd be finding communities everywhere on Instagram. But there is quite a small pocket. It hasn't exploded as I thought it was.
Yeah, right.
It's out there. But
what's the biggest thing you've attacked to design?
For my designing, probably something like icing physical or digital.
Oh yeah, no, okay. So two. I'll split the question up. What have you designed in digitally big that you've wanted to make physically?
Pretty much everything. I mean, I'd love to do the Batman physically. I'd love to get all the bricks and actually build that out there and do it proper. In terms of physical builds, I actually do a lot of brickheads. So they're sort of my little side gig where I design and build brickheads for people. I recently just built one for John Romero, who's the lead programmer of Doom. Way back in Doom 2, the little in-joke was you have to shoot his head to kill the end boss, like a hidden Easter egg. So last year I made the head. I should have sent that to you, Bilsy.
Is that the red round thing with the horns?
No, that's Cacodemon. But that's one of the early Doom builds I did. But yeah, sort of got in touch with him and posted him his little Lego head. So yeah, that was kind of fun to do. But that's one of the early ones, the Cacodemon. So yeah.
See, really, like when you look at it like that, and so this is digital?
Yes, all digital, yeah.
So is that, hold on, I'm just going to zoom in. Does it actually
It'll give it away. You'll start seeing little things that aren't quite right. Like, first of all, you'll see that there's no
Lego on it, you know what I mean? It's like they've got scratches and dents just to make it look that much more real.
Yeah.
There's no Lego print on the start. Yeah. It must be Leppin.
I'll turn that off. just so that people don't go, oh, is this an official set? Yeah.
But like, yeah, you look around here, like obviously other than, you can turn them on, the name on, but it's like, what a cool little thought to put in there just to make it look that much more realistic.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like the movies. The Lego movies went through all of this R&D to get all the molding right, to get the fingerprints right, to get dust and scratches and and they actually use Lego Digital Designer to start off. They built all their models in Digital Designer, then loaded it up into Maya and swapped it out with a higher res library, which Lego Group has as well. So, and they use digital for all of their product design. So everything you see on the
like you said, they've also got their in-house separate one as well.
Yeah.
You see a lot of the sets that are on Lego Ideas now, they definitely look like they've been done digitally. So, the guys making them just do enough for it to look good to get the votes, and then Lego has to figure out how it's done,
Yeah.
So based on that, if people are doing Lego Ideas sets digitally, how are they, if they're flogging an idea, so like Friends, for example, how are they importing those faces if they don't exist?
With the Lego heads do exist in the program. However, you can in Studio make your own minifig costumes and stuff.
So you can do that sort of detail. So when we saw the submission for things like Sesame Street a year ago or whatever, the original concept, that could have been done in that.
Someone could have made it easily in Blender or another program.
Okay.
So you can get the bricks from Studio, import it into Blender, and then you can light it up however you like. Which that's what I did with the Star Destroyer. That's just the big, huge Star Destroyer set. import it in the blender, and then I just put it into a nebula and lit it. Yeah.
Mm. You can, in Studio as well, you can apply images to bricks as well to make your own custom art or custom, like a stickered piece. I did that with my Kiwi mini build. Had the design custom printed onto 2 round tiles, and I was able to import that image into the instructions or into the part for the instructions.
Yeah, right.
So, Fireman Sam, what out of your designing history and background, what's probably the coolest thing that you've completed and designed, and you know?
Probably the one that's closest to completion is the set of trailers I've got done. I've got a few stewing away in the background, but sort of time and other things gets away. But I am sort of trying to design a scaled truck stop for all my trucks to do at a Lego show. So a 1:17 scale, sort of proper truck stop, petrol station, have Bowsers and all that. And trying to do that in digital is probably the next big project I'm working on. It's probably a 2 meter by 1.5 meter square layout display sort of thing, all done to true scale and true to life.
Will that be Octane branded by any chance?
There's a high chance it will be.
So we've got Bjorn, another Lego master from the other side of the world. So you got parts design to make new parts. So I'm guessing that's what you're talking about there, Ringer, when you can import your blended pieces, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much infinite what you can do. Once you get a template set up with your minifigs, I've got like a Photoshop file just for minifigs, and they're all just split up by, side of legs and torso and heads, and then you just sort of mix and match, or sometimes you just get scans off bits and just sort of cut and paste to make your own little pieces if you need something quickly.
Oh, yeah.
When you've done some of these big ones, I know, Ranger, you've got a pretty intense rig, aka computer.
Yeah.
Fireman Sam, you've got some rigs behind you, but have you got a strong computer as well?
No, probably that's probably my downside and my one hot tip if someone was getting into it is get a rig that's going to run it properly. I struggle a lot with moving large volumes of parts with the CPU and graphics not being able to keep up with it, sort of moving 2,000-3,000 parts in a uniform precision, trying to marry stuff up can be quite challenging if your rig's not up to it.
Yeah, right. So how long would it take you, Fireman Sam, to export something as big as the Batman, for example?
I'd hate to think how long something that big would take.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like for instance, to render those trailers, it took me nearly an hour of rendering through Start Studio to do it.
Yeah, right.
Like it is there's nearly 4,000 parts in it, and it sort of does take a fair bit to render. But yeah, having a weak PC is definitely a bit of a hindrance when it comes to that side.
With the big stuff like that for rendering, say, you had your trailer, or say you got ringers, and I'll throw something up for an example. You've got, these big type busts and people and that. See, this is obviously the majority black tiles and black pieces, with a couple of whites. Would say a truck, or say someone built the Colosseum in digital, or, some big sets like that with the same amount of pieces, does it render harder because there's more pieces, or it's just kind of the same?
Kind of the same. Because I've got a beefy PC, I reckon if Fireman Sam gave me a truck, I could probably do it in about 5 minutes.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, I've got a fair amount of grunt in my system. Because I do a lot of video editing, so I kind of need the resources. So it's something handy in my downtime. The other options people can do is there are render farms that Blender has. So you can send your file off online to a server that will render your work for you. So you don't have to worry about doing all that. So that will render things a lot faster because of it's sort of sharing everyone's computer power from around the world. Yeah. So there are solutions out there.
And you got to think too, going back when you think about it now, a lot of people use the digital because you got our mate Dave Holder. He does all his digital Pokemon before he starts building. You got Parko, obviously, that's here in the chat, and he said he built the yellow castle digitally. And then we had Mike Sargent that, is the truck freak. And I saw one he released today that was it was a commission build.
Yeah, his first commission build.
So like, I guess when you're in that sense, going down that avenue, if you're a business or you're a brand or you want something built, imagine the money and time it's saving you to whack something together digitally and then selling it or showing them, this is what it's going to look like instead of sitting there and making it and stuff like. I suppose that's like you, Dan. Like you said, you built that trophy, and then did you make that trophy into a real one, or you just doing it to do it?
No, I actually built it in the brick first, and I had to, I reverse engineered it in studio so that I had if I needed to replicate it, I didn't have to think about how I built the bloody thing in the first place.
And that's the other thing that they do as well. Hey, you can like put 2,000 set piece together, and it will give you the build instructions in the correct order.
You have to make the instructions yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not as instant as that. So you have to sort of break it up step by step by step. So it's doable. I've done it for like little brickheads online and stuff like that. It's not too hard to do, and a lot of people do it. There's a community growing up where people are selling their instructions, and they're building it digitally, putting the instructions out there, and then making a bit of a profit of it. So they're not actually selling the bricks; they're just selling the instructions and the studio file. And you can then send that file to BrickLink, order the bricks, and then that will come to you in many packages, and then you slowly build it.
Well, see, that's the flip side of it. I guess you might design something digitally that you think's freaking amazing, the best thing ever, and then you put it through BrickLink and realize you're about to order 30 of the most expensive one-off pieces.
Yeah, I've been there. It hurts. Yeah, like I had a pork chop, a little lamb chop that cost $5. They had to go and redesign it to save $5 because, or sometimes one piece. I've been getting a lot of bricks from New Zealand at the moment because there's like certain pieces that don't exist anywhere in Australia, and some reason the Kiwis have them. Thank you, Kiwis. So,
which bricks exactly?
All the
like certain slope pieces and certain quarter round tiles at some point just don't seem to be anywhere in Australia, or there's like 6 pieces only.
Like sheep pigs. We don't have those here either. They're all over there.
Just like we don't have any goats because they're all over there.
Oh no. So Ranga Sam, not digitally. What kind of what's your go-to Lego theme, Lego sets, your mocks? What's kind of your thing?
Oh, I'm the worst. If you can, I can't quite see past my head. Just over there, my shelf. So that's about all the Lego I own physically, which is a slave one and a couple of Chimera things that my friend gave me to get through lockdown. So I'm almost like the ant. It's so embarrassing. People go, oh, you must have tons of Lego. Like I hold up this 1 liter container with like just a few little bits, and they're just leftovers from commissions. I'm like the.
I gave you a brickhead. What? 3 weeks ago? Is that like the masterpiece?
That's his biggest set.
That's still sitting in the box. I haven't actually put it together yet. I've got all this Lego that I've won from the mugs, and I haven't built anything.
So, Fireman Sam, what about you? Obviously, you got some big trucks and cranes and machines in the background of your video. What's your? That's obviously your thing as well, digitally and physically.
Yeah, sort of physically, I've got a lot of the Technic sets now. Sort of don't buy as many as I sort of used to with some of the quality and the skill that's been coming out. I'd rather put that money into actually buying the bricks to build the mocks. But yeah, my go-to is Technic, just for that sort of real life function.
So for someone that builds like a lot of trucks like you, when the Mac come out, did that change the way you built it all?
No,
like, did you go more you kept with the brick?
It wasn't too bad, but the separate builds you can build out of that Mac are probably quite better than the actual original design sort of thing. So there's a few of them you'll get a few ideas off, but a lot of them are very basic. And there's quite a big truck building community over in Europe that builds some incredible stuff that's sort of well beyond anything Lego's doing at this point in time when it comes to RC functionality and realistic.
Actually, funny you mentioned that. There's a sweeper online from, I think he calls himself Mr. Technics. with an X. He built like a sweeper with working brushes, the God steering, and it's like mind blowing. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there's some phenomenal builders out there that where I get most of my inspiration from.
All right, we're done. That went really, really quick tonight. All right, going around the screen again. Obviously, Cheap Jokes put out a new blog, as he said today. Go and check him out, cheapjokes.com. Dan is streaming more, videoing more, doing everything more online. So make sure you go and follow Between the Bricks Twitch. Mainly, I guess, still Twitch is your number one still.
Yep. Streaming Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
There you go. Don't forget Bills' Brick Builds on Instagram. He needs to post more. We all know this. And Wednesday nights, we are building. We're up to bags number 3 or 4, part 2 of our Batwing.
Filler bags. You're going to love those.
Yeah, it's so far so good. Obviously, Cheap Jokes and Dan.
That whole bag of yellow.
Yeah, the whole bag of yellow, I think, bag 3. Yeah.
Happy days.
To go and check out Ranger Bricks' designs, his Instagram is full of them. It is packed. You'll sit there for the next half hour to an hour just going through them. We sampled a few tonight. Check them out. Go and follow him as it is Ranger_Bricks. And, of course, Fireman Sam, we're going to keep an eye on your oversized truck stop. So I'm assuming as soon as a live physical show opens up, you're going to try get there?
Yeah, the push is once there's a show to sort of find the funding to push into the models to get them physically built.
Aren't we all?
It's not too far.
Yeah,
get your brick out and truck up a show. It'll be great.
Get your brick out and truck up a show. There you go. Famous last words from Cheap Jokes. See you later, everybody.